And to be executed in California was the notorious leader of the Crips gang, Stanley Tookie Williams, in 2005. As a media witness randomly chosen, I watched it happen. And here's what that was like. With the rusty doors to the execution chamber creaking open, Stanley Tookie Williams shuffled in, shackled and cuffed. Wearing a blue shirt, blue jeans, no shoes, just socks. I remember thinking how those pure white socks stood out to me, in stark contrast to what was about to be the darkest moment of his life. It was the end of the road for this convicted killer, a man who formed the notorious Crips gang in L.A., on death row for killing 4 people.
Welcome to another episode of Untold Stories of Tookie Williams, founder of the Crips. Stanley Tookie Williams, born December 29, 1953, died December 13, 2005, was an American gang member and spree killer who co-founded and led the West Side Crips gang in Los Angeles. He and Raymond Washington formed an alliance in 1971 that would establish the Crips as a Los Angeles' first major African-American street gang. Convictions: first-degree murder with special circumstances, at least 4 victims. Robbery, 2 counts, sentenced to death. Span of crimes: February 28, 1979 to March 7, 1979. Weapons of choice: 12-gauge shotgun. Wife: Bonnie Williams Taylor. Left behind 3 children. Earlier years: Williams was born December 29, 1953 in Shreveport, Louisiana. His father abandoned the family when Williams was just 1 year old. In 1959, Williams moved with his mother in Louisiana, and they moved to Los Angeles, California, and settled in the city of South Central. As Williams' mother worked several jobs to support them, Williams was a latchkey kid and often engaged in mischief on the streets. He recalled that as a child, he would hang out in abandoned houses and vacant lots around his neighborhood in South Central, where he would watch adults get drunk, abuse drugs, gamble, and engage in dog fights. Williams stated that after the adults finished the dog fighting, they would make the children fight each other, including himself. Williams began to participate in these street fights regularly as a child, where adults would bet on him and give him part of the proceeds for winning his fights. Williams was often a target of older bullies and street thugs in his neighborhood, and by the age of 12, began carrying a switchblade in order to protect himself. By the time Williams was a teenager, he had gained a reputation in South Central West Side as a vicious street fighter. Williams was expelled from George Washington Preparatory High School.
Are being spread to other cities, chiefly by 2 long-standing rivals in the Los Angeles youth gang scene. Black groups who call themselves Crips and wear blue colors,
and was blackballed by several other high schools in the South Central area for fighting, and eventually began doing stints in Central Juvenile Hall. In 1969, at age 16, Williams was arrested in Inglewood for a car theft and was sent to the Los Angeles Padrinos Juvenile Hall in Downey.
Another guy hit over there, too.
We know about him. He's just his leg. This guy's hit in the chest.
2 more victims of an American shooting war. The war involving thousands of youth gang members in the nation's 2nd largest city.
Did you see what happened?
I just see the car rise by.
The war is escalating and spreading, fueled by quick money and big...
While doing time at the detention center, Williams was introduced to Olympic weightlifting by the facility's gym coach, and this experience would spark an interest in bodybuilding. By his release from custody in early 1971, age 17, Williams was physically bigger and stronger. According to Williams, upon his release from custody, the review board asked him what he planned to do after being released, to which he replied, being the leader of the biggest gang in the world. Shortly after his release from prison, Williams was approached by Raymond Washington at Washington Preparatory High School. After hearing of Williams through a mutual friend of both young men,
family thing, it's about us. And for us all over, it's gonna be all us. It's gonna be all us for us all over. It ain't gonna be no other sex, ain't gonna be no other.
The friend had informed Washington of Williams' toughness and his willingness to fight members of larger, more established street gangs such as the Los Angeles Brams and the Chain Gang. According to Williams' account of the meeting, what struck him about Washington was that besides being incredibly muscular,
I had a girlfriend and I was living on 24th Street, and my daughter's mother, and we had a little apartment at the time, and I was in there buffing. I'm on swole, so I'm thinking I'm on swole. I'm in there. So then she goes out on the front porch, so she comes back in. There's some niggas out here, they disrespectful, this, that, and the third, you know, like that. Now, Court will tell you, once you finish your set, you feel like God.
Oh yeah, you got that pump.
You got that pump. You like, what?
Right.
Who? So I fall out. I ran outside. It was Tookie. It was Tookie sitting in a lowrider with, I think, probably Barefoot Pookie and some other nondescript murdering looking niggas. And they were in a yellow lowrider, like a 5, right? Convertible, sitting there. And Tookie used to wear his hat, like his hair like in a pompano with like a scarf toe, and it would be. And I looked out and I seen them niggas. I was like, that's Tookie. I ran back in the house. I said, bitch, why you got that shit on anyway? Why put on some clothes? You trying to get me killed? You know?
He had a short cohort where he dressed similar to Williams and his clique, wearing leather jackets and starched Levi jeans and suspenders. Washington was from the South Central East Side, where he was a prominent gangster similar to Williams, and proposed they use their influence in their respective regions to form the larger Crips street gang. The purpose for creating the gang initially was to eliminate all street gangs and create a bull force, neighborhood watch in South Central. Williams said, we started out, at least my intent was to, in a sense, address all of the so-called neighborhood gangs in the area and put, in a sense, I thought I could clean the neighborhood of all these, mortaring gangs. In 1989, Williams was convicted of 4 counts of murder committed in 3 separate incidences. Williams will also maintain his innocence through subsequent court reviews, concluded that there was no compelling reason to grant a retrial. On December 13, 2005, 16 days after his 52nd birthday, after exhausting all forms of appeal, Williams was executed by lethal injection at the San Quentin State Prison. Newsweek reported thousands of protesters outside, most of whom were seeking Williams' clemency. He was the 12th person to be executed by the state of California following the 1976 U.S. Supreme Court decision of Gregg versus Georgia. Williams provided no last words to the prison warden, but in an interview with WBAI hours before the execution, he stated, Williams' body was laid out for viewing on December 19, 2005, and drew 2,000 mourners. A memorial service was held in Los Angeles on December 20th, 2005, where Benson read his final wishes. Williams' funeral filled the 1,500-seat Bethel AME Church and drew a wide variety of people, from current gang members to celebrities and religious leaders. On June 25, 2006, Robert Benchel and Williams' longtime friend Shirley Neal sprinkled his ashes into the lake of Tazaka Park in the city of Soweto, South Africa, as Williams had wished. I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Lost Stories. Stanley Tookie Williams, the founder of the Crips. Like and subscribe for more content.